The Packers are finalizing a deal with Jaylon Smith. Wait, that's not Stephon Gilmore. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. This is the 5th video today. The news just never stops. Grossi, and today we will be talking about the Green Bay Packers are the likely suitors and landing spot for former Cowboys linebacker Jaylon Smith, who was released yesterday, and this has just been an absolute hectic news day. And I have seen every single emotion reacting to this likely signing. I've seen, oh my God, he's the worst player ever. What are we doing? And I've seen the, I can't believe we signed him. We are so lucky. Let's freaking frack and go. And I'm going to kind of just break it down from where I see this signing, tell you a little bit about Jaylon Smith in case you're not aware of the player, and kind of how I feel he might fit into the Green Bay Packers defense. Now, it's important to note that this deal is not finalized. It wouldn't be finalized until tomorrow. Domofsky coming out and saying that there's other teams that are still vying for him. Ian Rappaport saying that it's basically a done deal. So I'm going to report this as likely signing. I didn't want to make a clickbait title of like, they definitely got him, in case that blows up in our face, just because, you know, even though I'm in my basement, I'd like to have some journalistic integrity. So it was kind of a shock for the entire NFL that Jaylon Smith was released yesterday. There was some that thought that this might happen actually before the season began, and here's why. Jaylon Smith is 26 years old. Okay, he's a young guy, the former number 34 overall pick in the 2016 draft, in which he sat out the entire 2016 season because he was rehabbing a knee injury that he sustained in his final game with Notre Dame, and he was seen as a big old risk. However, from 2017 to 2020, the guy did not miss a single game, and on top of that, even went to the Pro Bowl one of those years. So it seemed like Jaylon Smith was going to be a starter in Dallas for a very, very long time. However, especially after the 2019 season, his play started to dramatically decline. It led to the drafting of a guy like Micah Parsons, for example. And fast forward to today, when you have Micah Parsons, Van Der Esch, and even Neal, who have basically superseded Jaylon Smith, and he went from being an every down linebacker to now he's just there in certain situations. And if you look at his tape, a lot of it comes down to mental errors. The guy is constantly biting when he's not supposed to. He's basically getting in his own way, and the tape just doesn't look good. And it got to the point where the Cowboys were like, nah, like we're done after 4 games of this season. He really wasn't great in 2020. He hasn't had a good year this season thus far, and the Cowboys just decided to part ways with him. And from 2017 to 2020, the guy had over 100 tackles every single season. So you might be looking at this and going, well, what's the problem here? The issue is a lot of those tackles were beyond the line of scrimmage. And so, for example, like when Blake Martinez was with the Packers and he like racked up all these numbers, was leading the team in tackles, yeah, that's all well and good, except when it's 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, not so good. So let me get all of the bad out of the way, in that the Cowboys were looking at him saying there are guys on the depth chart that have progressed past Jaylon Smith. He's kind of holding some people back from getting some playing time, so we're just going to move on from him. So that's the bad, in which the Packers are picking up a guy who at minimum needs a change of scenery, and while athletic, has a ton of mental errors in his game. So why are the Packers even bothering with this guy? Well, let's talk about the positives. One, Jaylon Smith is an incredibly athletic guy. He's a great athlete. He does have that quickness, and he can make plays when he's not making those mental errors. In addition, and this is probably the most positive thing, the Cowboys are eating and paying his entire base salary this season. So that means the Packers are going to be able to get him for basically a veteran's minimum, and they're not going to have to pay very much for Jaylon Smith. So absolute worst case scenario, if Smith doesn't work out in Green Bay, the Packers are not really going to be spending a lot of money on him. And so while you have guys like Chris Barnes who are coming back from a concussion and Devondre Campbell who have been playing great, this basically allows you to pick up a third string inside linebacker who was a former second round pick. I mean, there are worse things because you're just getting him for a ridiculously low amount of money. Again, the contract is not finalized. We'll find out the numbers tomorrow, but I imagine it's going to be pretty darn low because the Cowboys are basically going to be paying him to play on our team this year. And this actually harkens back to the Stephon Gilmore news this morning, meaning that if Stephon Gilmore was released, we would have been able to restructure a deal and it wouldn't have been a big problem. However, because he was traded, we would have had to absorb all of his salary. Here, we don't have to do any of that. The Cowboys are going to be paying him and we just get to be like, here you go, here's $3, come play football. In addition, one of the other nice things is that this allows Joe Barry, our inside linebacker whisperer, who has developed all these linebackers, we talked about it all off season, it allows him to develop Jaylon Smith and see if the kid can still play. So honestly, the risk for this guy is super duper low and you could get a pretty nice reward out of it. If anything, you also get another body there and you allow guys like Devondre Campbell to potentially progress even further. You get to play 3 inside linebacker sets and it just allows Joe Barry to mix it up a little bit with a veteran player. So to be completely honest, I'm kind of like okay about this news. I'm not overly excited, but I'm not trashing it just because the Cowboys are basically paying for him. So I'm not really too concerned about what he does, because if he does great, fantastic. We got him for bargain bin. Look at what we got Devondre Campbell for. We're paying him like $2 million. And if he kind of flunks out and doesn't do well, we didn't spend a lot of money, so it's all good. In addition, we picked up Douglas from the Panthers practice squad, who started in 11 games last year with the Panthers. A total of 29 starts. He's played in 60 games, 6'2", 209 pounds. He was the 99th overall pick in 2017. And considering we still do not know about Jair Alexander because Matt LaFleur didn't have any updates for us, we're kind of just waiting, and this provides some depth at that position as well. So overall, I think this is a good signing for the Packers. And again, there's just such little risk with it. We don't really have a lot to lose. I know a lot of Packers fans, including myself, were hoping that we'd be talking about Stephon Gilmore today signing with the Packers, but it unfortunately was not meant to be. Instead, we got Jaylon Smith. Let's hope that Joe Barry can turn his career around. And as Aaron Rodgers just said in his press conference, perhaps all you need is a little bit of change of scenery. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about Jaylon Smith signing with the Green Bay Packers? You think this is going to take the defense to the next level? You think that he's going to be able to do any good on the team? Let me know. You know, I saw me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media you see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.